Salutations friends, and welcome finally to this video. It's been in the makes for weeks. I started working on this video at the end of June and it is now nearing the end of July. So it's been almost a month of collecting footage and sorting things out and getting things done. I honestly wasn't even sure if I'd ever finish this video or even ever put it up, but here we are. I did it. Everything is to a place where I'm happy with it. I decided to make over my room after some stuff came up in my life and I just really needed a space that I was happy in and that I wanted to be in. So I removed some stuff, I put in some stuff, I ordered some organization stuff, and I'm just so much more happier in this space. And I'm excited to show you guys how I got to here. I'm gonna go about this day by day just to show you what I did, explain what happened and whatnot, and then at the end I'm going to give my final thoughts and a tour of the finished room. So without further ado, let's get into it. Before I started on the actual makeover, I wanted to get some before shots just to show you what I was working with. As you can see, I have a fairly large room, but it feels very snug and crowded with the setup that it was in, and everything was extremely cluttered and it was making me feel super unmotivated and I really didn't feel comfortable in it. I hadn't really bothered to make it any better because this room was supposed to be a temporary thing, and I had planned to move out before the end of summer, but some life stuff came up and it turns out that I'm going to be living here for a bit longer than anticipated, so I decided to just go ahead and turn this room into a space that I wanted to be in instead of just a space to wait in. So the first thing I did in anticipation of moving the larger, taller pieces of furniture and to give myself a blank slate to work from was remove all of the paintings and wall decor that I had hanging up around my room. I have quite the collection of different paintings and prints and whatnot. I love gallery walls, and I've been putting them together since before I even knew that they were called gallery walls. And it just makes me feel more inspired and motivated when I'm surrounded by visuals that interest or mean something to me. Now that the walls were clear, it was time to get rid of the bane of my existence. I had been wanting to remove this large green couch for quite some time, and I was finally able to do it. That was the biggest obstacle in turning this into a space that I felt more comfortable in and that felt more livable, and once that was gone, it was just a matter of clearing off surfaces and moving things out of areas in order to move other pieces back into those areas. I started with my dresser, as that was one of the harder pieces to move. It was pretty heavy and it's very large, and I wanted to get it in place so that I could set my TV up and get it off the floor. I always try to get anything expensive and fragile like that set up and out of the path of destruction as quickly as possible. I am like a tornado when it comes to moving furniture and stuff around, and I like to minimize potential damage whenever I can. Next, I needed the bed moved before I could continue with the living area, since the length of the bed was going to determine how much space would be dedicated to the living room space that I wanted to create. Once that was in place, I could finally move the other furniture into their final places. That green couch was getting replaced with this much nicer, much smaller blue couch that I had bought at the beginning of quarantine. I also wanted to bring back my DVD shelf. I have a fairly large DVD collection that I used to have on display on a large hanging shelf that I removed from my room quite a while ago, and my DVDs have since been packed up in boxes, and I really wanted to have them accessible to me again, so I used these two very cheap, very small bookshelves that I have had forever as a makeshift movie shelf. At this point, most of my furniture was in place, and I started to put in some of the decor aspects just to get an idea of how I wanted things to look. I was gifted this rocking chair by my grandmother a while ago, and I originally wanted it up near the couch, but I didn't have the space for it, so instead I created this little entryway-like space near my bedroom door and tucked it into a little nook. I finished day 3 off with my clothing closet. I had bought this closet organizer from Amazon, and so I put it together before I cleared everything out of the closet, installed it, realized that it was bigger than I thought and that I wouldn't have any room to hang my dresses, gave up, put my clothes away anyway, and went to bed. I've had this hutch out in the shop that I bought for my future apartment or house or whatever, but since moving fell through and I cleared up some space, I really wanted to bring it into my room and create something that I have wanted in my space forever, a tea hutch. Now that all of the tall furniture was in place, I could finally take care of all of those awful blank walls and rehang all of my wall decor. The way that I like to go about this is by working from biggest to smallest. I start with an idea of what I want, and I decide which pieces I want on which wall. I start with all of those big landscape pieces and then filling around them with the smaller pieces, trying to keep an equal spacing and sort of cohesive design as I go. The last space that I had to get sorted was my spare closet. It was pretty much just a place that I was throwing all of the extra things that I didn't have room for into, and I really wanted to turn it into a makeshift sewing / crafting space. Ever since I moved my other desk out of here, I haven't really had a space to set up my sewing machine and leave it, so I've been super unmotivated to really make or do anything related to that, and I just really needed a space for it. So I started by pulling everything out of the closet, and I spent the afternoon sorting and organizing and getting rid of all of the crap that I had stuffed in there, just to prepare it for installing a desk and putting in shelving and other organizational stuff that I had ordered to keep things somewhat neat. Finally, we cleared out the closet and my mom helped me install a makeshift desk with an extra piece of wood that we had lying out, and I started decorating and putting all of my stuff back into the closet to help create a happy space for me to create in. Alright, it is now July 20th as I am filming this, and I have been decorating and finagling things about day by day, little by little, since I left off, and honestly, me as a person, I'm never done decorating. I'm always moving things around, and it's about as finished as it can get without this video spanning over months and months. So it's still not perfect, but if I wanted to wait until it was perfect to put this video up, I would never put this video up. But it's to a place where I'm happy with it, and I'm happy to show it to all of you guys, and with that, let's give the final tour. Alright, so when you first walk into my room, we have the corner hutch, my brooches, and my mannequin in this little seating area. Currently don't have a place for all of my dresses. Some of them are folded up and packed away, some of the more specialty dresses, but the ones I wear all the time I have left here just for easy access, and this guy gets moved about just wherever I need it for whatever project I'm working on. The gallery wall currently is, I'm considering it unfinished, but I'm leaving it for now. I do need to get frames for all of these. That is something that I am working on, as well as a few in other places. My witch hutch, I'm gonna just let you decide on what that means. Of course, we cannot have a bedroom without fairy lights. Not the best effect right now in this daylight, but you know, it's cozy at night. Side table, bed. I ended up getting a duvet cover just to cover up my old duvet. I didn't want to get a whole new set of bedding because I'm not planning on being here forever, and hopefully when I do move out, I can upgrade to a bigger bed because hopefully I'll have the space for it. But for now, a cheap duvet cover that I bought off of Amazon is gonna do, which I will have this linked in the description if you want it. It's cute, it's cheap, I love the buttons, and it comes in different colors. More gallery wall, plant, a fern. He's not doing the best. I think I might have to move him to a more sunny area. More wall. I am just going to point out a few things on here. This is one of my favorite pieces that I have. It's an old print that I got from my great-grandpa's house after he passed away. This bug was a gift. I painted that, and I mounted that bug myself, and you can totally tell it was my first time because he is not in the best shape. And then last on this wall is this illustration, which I do have a video on. So if you want to hear me nerd out about cryptids for an excessive amount of time and you want to see me draw a whole bunch of cryptids, here's a sneak peek, and I will have a link up in the eye in the corner. Turning around this way, these two pieces I am not quite finished with. I do have a plant here, and some decorations, but I do want to replace my record player, which broke a little while ago. I'm hoping to turn this into a music station with a little Victorola or Crosley record player on top, and then all my records down below that are still currently packed up, so that's a work in progress. As well as this top, I'm still sort of figuring out what to do with this. This is my World War II nurse's trunk that is from the 40s. It still has the original nurse's uniforms inside of it, as well as some personal belongings to Emily, the nurse who owned this trunk. Probably one of the coolest pieces that I own. I love it. Moving right along to the first closet, these I just have hanging up. These are some original 1940s garments. This World War II uniform top needs to go into some sort of space where it's not going to get damaged, and then the other one is an olive green wool set that I recently got that I'm planning on wearing in the winter, so that also needs to get packed up. Also, please ignore all of the cat toys that are on the ground. Somebody likes to just make a mess all the time, and I'm okay with it. The closet doesn't look too different than what it did when you last saw it. Ignore my drying herbs that I have. I don't really have any other place to hang them at the moment, so they just go in the closet. And onto the second closet, I have my little roller cart that I still need to go through and organize. But this is what my sewing space looks like now. A little bit different than the last time you saw it. I finally got this in the mail, which has a ton of these little itty bitty drawers that make it super easy to organize all of the little tiny sewing notions that I have. I've got my thread, I've got some paper organization, this little drawer set that I've had honestly forever, that little drawer set that I have honestly forever. My machine finally has a place to set up and stay, and if I need the desk space, I can easily just move it over to the side. More stuff. I ordered some comic book boards to put all of my fabric on bolts, which honestly, this is so much less stressful than how it was before, and I love them. I will also link those in the description, as well as this shelving unit. It's awesome. I love it. I adore it, and I am so excited about it. I also got this little drawer set from Amazon, so that will be linked below as well. And then down below is just some more of those shelves. This one just is holding my yarn. I kind of just built it sideways. Moving on, probably my favorite thing about this room, my hutch for my tea and snacks. Snacks are down below, and I have my little teas. I have my mug, honey, my kettle, also bought that off Amazon, and all of my loose leaf teas, as well as this amazing little witch kitchen set. I have the teapot, little utensil holder, salt and pepper shakers, all of the cups, and a cookie jar up there, as well as this little guy, which I am not sure exactly what it's meant to be used for, but I've been using it to hold my tea bags and my spoon when I am making tea. And to continue on with the sort of kitchenette type feel, I also have this table, which my mom found me for super cheap. I think it was like $15 or $10 or something, and it's got these amazing little brass feet, and it flips out, and so it's perfect for this tiny space. I'm super excited to actually have it in here as an extra space for laying out fabric, or I've been using it to draw and paint at since it's right in front of this nice big window. The curtains are currently half closed because I'm trying to keep the heat out as much as possible. I have my sad little mint plant. He is on his last leg. He's not going to make it to another season because he's been indoors, but he's here and he's, you know, dying out. But I did get one last really good harvest from him, so that's good. And last but certainly not least, we have the living room. We ended up taking the doors off of both of these closets because it gave the illusion of more space and it made it feel a little less crowded, and also it allowed easier access to this space. But we didn't want to just throw those doors away, so we turned them into this. A little room divider wall thing upcycled, and it's probably my favorite thing that we made for this room. My mom helped me. It's honestly awesome. I can't wait to start hanging things up and finding things to hang. Rufus is playing with his loudest toy currently, so I'm sorry if you can hear that in the background, but I just absolutely adore it and I love it, and it gives amazing separation between this living area and the bedroom area. And of course my little blue couch. I adore this thing. This is where I spend a lot of my time now because I love sitting in the daylight. I can throw on a horror movie in the background and just chill, edit, do all that good stuff. My cute little coffee table, a lamp, a side table with extra storage in here. This is an old cigar stand that my mom also found. My mom does furniture, so if you live in the northwest part of Washington State and you're looking for some really cool furniture, I will link her Facebook page and her Instagram below because she's awesome and everything she does is just awesome and amazing. Next we have the bookshelves. This is sort of my temporary space where I have my computer just for now. It's where it works. This is where I do all of my editing and whatnot. So it works there. Some plants, my little Rose of Jericho, and some extra art stuff. All of the DVDs, most of which are horror movies. And I do have my little cartoon collection down there. Some books, some extra supplies that I just am not sure where to put yet. And then the gallery wall. Again, just to go over a few things. These two pieces do need frames. I'm working on it. Not so sure how I feel about this guy hanging here. I might just shift him over a little bit. But I did paint this guy. I also drew this portrait of Bucky Barnes. And then this is from my great-grandfather. He painted this. I also have a piece he did in my bathroom. These are always fun little heirlooms to have. The TV area. This is where I put my dresser. Again, my mom did this. So, again, link below. These are all movies that were gifted to me by my aunt when she was getting rid of a bunch of her DVDs, and these are the ones that I kept that I want to go through and watch eventually. I also have a small pile over there. Well, maybe not small. I also have a pile over there. And my little shelf with my tree that I got from my grandmother and some other little things. And then we have this wonderful naked lady, an owl that was handmade by an ex-coworker's grandfather, I believe, or her husband's grandfather. She loved it but didn't have space for it, and she found out I was really into vintage and specifically 70s style, and she graciously gifted it to me, and I love him. He's amazing. And then there's just some extra stuff, the cat's food area, and that's it. That's my little room tour for you guys, and I'm just gonna throw this back to myself for the outro. And that's it. It has been quite the journey, but it feels so amazing to finally have a space that is comfortable and cozy and inspiring, and a space that I want to be in and that I want to live in. I am much happier in this space than I was before, and I am so glad that I did this. I hope that this inspires you to make your space your own if you can, and it honestly makes a world of difference getting up and being in a place that makes you happy. And again, everything that I bought for organization and whatnot on Amazon will be linked below if you saw anything that you wanted or that you liked or you want to try it out. Everything I got was fairly inexpensive and extremely versatile in all kinds of different spaces. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to click that like button, and if you want to hang around and see me do more things, go on more adventures, make things in my new space, then feel free to subscribe. I upload every Thursday and I would love to have you. Thank you again for watching, and don't forget to wash your hands. Goodbye.
I'll be your little honey, I will promise that, said Nellie as she rolled her dreamy eyes. It's a shame to take from mommy, said the bird on the